Hi, it's Jennifer Murray, and I'll be reviewing Nearpod and its usefulness in the classroom and in the library. So what is Nearpod? Nearpod is a student engagement platform, and it really does get students excited about lessons and participating in their own learning in an interactive way. I first heard about Nearpod when Casey Boyd, the boss librarian, kept mentioning how great it was and how she used it in her library. One of the best things about Nearpod is that it is so easy to use. Teachers can choose lessons from the Nearpod library, which contains a wide variety of pre-created material. Let's watch a quick 1-minute video showing what that's like.
I can create my own collection of ready-made lessons from the Nearpod Lesson Library by hovering over Explore in my Nearpod account, clicking Nearpod Lesson Library. This takes me to the Nearpod content collection here. I can open up any of these to preview lessons, or I can even search by topic here. So if I were to type in fractions, I could find lessons that are about fractions. You can see I have a variety of grade levels here. If I'd like to narrow the search to just 5th grade, I can choose that here, and that will filter the results. These are 5th grade fractions lessons. So if I want to check one out, I open it up here by clicking the thumbnail. I can then preview it to see if it's what I want. And if it is, I click Add to My Library. I can then click Show in My Library and launch it immediately for students live or student paced, or even click the Edit button to add or take away slides. I can find it later in My Library in Nearpod. I can see it's here in My Library. If I hover over it, I can launch it live or student paced, or edit it for content. And that's how you add a lesson from the Nearpod Lesson Library right into your Nearpod My Library.
After adding lessons to Nearpod libraries, teachers can edit those lessons for their own classroom use by adding or deleting material from them. Lessons often come with teacher-facing slides that help explain steps teachers should take to conduct the lessons. So deleting those slides after reading them and before showing them to students is always a great idea. Other types of material that can be added are content slides, web content, and activity slides. Content slides are basic slides with things like text and photos. Web content is where teachers can get really creative. For example, they could add in a 360-degree video of pyramids in a Nearpod lesson about ancient Egypt. Nearpod also plays well with other sites, especially Google Slides, so any information that teachers previously curated in another app or on another site can easily be added to a Nearpod lesson. Activity slides include things like quizzes and polls. Here are some other examples of things that can be included. These are the interactive elements that make Nearpod so unique. Now that we talked a little bit about those basics, let's ask the question, what makes Nearpod so great? Why should you take the time to learn how to use it? What are the benefits of implementing some Nearpod activities and lessons into your classroom or library? One of the most important reasons is that it's quick and easy to find exactly what you need when you search Nearpod for the perfect lesson. Before we go any further, I must explain that there is some content on Nearpod that you must pay for. If you choose to pay for that content, you can either pay per lesson or you can get a subscription for your classroom or for your school for a reasonable cost. I've included the generic pricing information available on Nearpod's website so you can see what that might look like for your particular school. Those that use the platform so often have found it to be worth the cost, but there's also a lot of free content that's available to use on Nearpod. When searching for a lesson, you can filter by free lessons, subject, grade level, and resource type. The search feature is very user-friendly. Lessons can be live or student-paced, so you can use them in class or students can complete them from home, which is great when remote learning days are necessary, when students miss class, or when students need extra practice or study time outside of class. Nearpod lessons are formatted in a way that allows for easy connection to Common Core state standards. Most Nearpod lessons start with an essential question, then identify the learning targets, and finally address the 5 E's, which are engage, explore, explain, extend, and evaluate. So how do students access Nearpod lessons? There are 2 ways to get Nearpod lessons to students. The first is that you as the teacher can get a code that allows you to embed the Nearpod lesson into a hyperdoc that you then send to students. The second way is to send a code to students that they will then have to enter in order to access the lesson. While it would be easy enough to email that code and have students copy and paste it into their browsers, I highly recommend embedding the lesson into a hyperdoc, especially for younger students. Nearpod has some pretty great features that make it a particularly convenient and efficient tool for teachers. Students can complete quizzes right inside Nearpod. Those quizzes are then automatically submitted to the teacher. The results of those quizzes show up for each student on the teacher side of Nearpod. And a graph for how students performed overall also shows up so that the teacher can see the immediate impact of a lesson, down to the specifics of how each student answered each question. One of the best features of Nearpod is the polling option that I briefly mentioned earlier. Here's a 1-minute video showing the polling feature.
A poll is a great activity to highlight student opinions, to activate prior knowledge, to provoke thought and interest in a lesson, and to give students a voice and a choice. To add a poll to a Nearpod lesson, click Add Slide, Add Activity, and then Poll. With Nearpod poll questions, you can ask a short answer and create up to 8 answer choices per question. I want to spark a thought-provoking discussion to begin a lesson about Mars. So, I'll type in my question. NASA is planning its first manned mission to Mars, and they want you to join. Would you go? Be prepared to explain your choice. So I simply enter in my answer choices and click Save. Keep in mind, with a poll question, there is no right or wrong answer. As students submit their answer choices, you can view and share them with the class in real time. Polls are a great way to hook your class into a lesson, spark a discussion, or quickly check for understanding.
So teachers can pose a question, then students can answer questions in an anonymous way so that the teacher and the rest of the class can see everyone's answers at once. The teacher can get a true sense of how the class is understanding the lesson and what students need more or less of in order to learn the material. The polling feature can and has also been successfully used as a way for students to reflect on and evaluate their own learning. In conclusion, Nearpod lessons are fun and interactive for students and very helpful for teachers that want to implement technology-rich, standards-aligned, time-saving lessons into their curriculum. Try it out and see what a difference it can make in your classroom or library. These are the sources that I used to complete this presentation. And here are a couple of articles at the bottom. One on Nearpod's use in the classroom and one on the benefit of technology in the classroom.